Armor in Valheim's kinda overrated. Well, at least the armor stat you see in every armor piece in the game. It's only a small piece of the puzzle you should be considering when choosing your armor, and today I'm going to explain everything you need to know about each of the 16 unique armor sets, how to find them, best use them, and ultimately advise on which ones you should wear in every biome. But let's dive into it. When choosing your armor, there are 4 main factors to consider: how much armor that is provided, what kind of special effects or buffs does it provide, if any, what impact it has on your movement speed, and most importantly, how cool it looks. The Meadows is pretty straightforward with just 2 options in the rag you have equipped when you start the game, and the improved leather set. The rag is composed of just 2 pieces in the tunic and pants, and unlike all others, this one can only be upgraded once with a max quality of 2, achievable if you have a level 2 workbench after building either the tanning rack or chopping block. To craft and upgrade this set, all you need are leather scraps from the biome's boar. Leather, on the other hand, consists of 4 pieces in the leather helmet, tunic, pants, and to occupy a Viking's 4th armor slot, the deerhide cape. This armor, like all future sets, can be upgraded 3 times to max quality of 4, but will often be limited by your workbench upgrade level. In this case, the max achievable workbench level with Meadows materials is 3, so Vikings must settle for a max quality of 2 for their leather set before advancing into the Black Forest. To craft, you'll need to hunt deer for their hide and smash skeletons or find their remnants at graves for their bones. And without any special properties, the higher armor on the leather set just makes it straight up better than the rag. But the choice won't be as easy as we go into the Black Forest. The game's second biome has 3 sets to choose from in the Troll, Bronze, and new Bear set, which together introduce intricacies that make choosing your armor more complicated, with set bonuses and movement speed penalties to consider. For starters, the Troll armor made up of the helmet, tunic, and pants, when all equipped, provide a set bonus of plus 15 to your sneak skill. The leather cape can also be added for style points, but isn't required for the set effect. To craft the gear, you'll need to slay many trolls for their hide and loot countless burial chambers for skeleton fragments, and unlike the preceding biome, you can achieve quality level 3 for this one by upgrading your workbench to 4 by placing the adza after gathering bronze. The metal forged by combining the biome's tin and copper can also be used to craft the bronze armor, although this one at a new workstation in the forge. The bronze set is the game's first heavy armor set, which delivers a movement speed penalty both from the cuirass and leggings of minus 5% each, but at least not the bronze helmet. Making this armor is straightforward, requiring mostly bronze and a little bit of deer hide, and can be upgraded to quality level 3 with Black Forest materials, if adding both the forge cooler and anvils near your forge. Third is the bear set, and brand new to Valheim this year. Composed of the headdress, patterns, and loincloth of the bear, it makes for one of the most unique sets that the game has ever produced. It finds its armor rating in between the Troll and Bronze, functioning as the medium set for the biome, and has a killer set bonus if wearing all 3. It gives a 30% increase to health regeneration, 15% buff to stamina regen, 10% increase to slash and chop damage, but the trade-off being you take 25% more damage from all incoming physical attacks. To craft this one, you'll need to overcome many of the game's bear for their hide, paws, and elusive 10% drop rate trophy for the headdress, but also forge some blueberries. This one, like the Troll, can be upgraded to level 3, given you've added the adza to your workbench. While the bear doesn't absorb nearly as much damage as the bronze, I still prefer the bear since it doesn't reduce your movement speed, allows you to output way more damage, and if you pair the set with a bronze buckler and weapon of your choice, the huge block armor will allow you to parry all incoming attacks, never needing to consider your armor rating. For me, this is a no-brainer and illustrates really well why an armor's armor rating is a little overrated when choosing your protection. Yet, the game's third biome, the Swamp, offers arguably the single best piece of armor in the entire game. But you do have 2 sets to choose from in the Iron and Root. The first in Iron is composed of the helmet, scale mail, and greaves, and like the heavy bronze set before it, is made at the forge, gives a ton of armor, and reduces movement speed by 5% respectively by the chest piece and leggings. To craft it, you'll need to gather a ton of iron scraps from sunken crypts, and to upgrade it to a max level of 4, you'll need at least 2 of the smith's anvil, forge tool rack, or forge bellows to achieve a level 5 forge. On the other hand, to craft the root set, you'll need to fight the spooky abomination for their root, chop many ancient trees for their bark, and harvest a couple piggies and deer. This set comes with its headpiece in the mask, chest piece in the harness, and root leggings to complete the outfit. By wearing all 3, you are granted the set bonus of plus 15 to your bow skill, but each individual piece has their considerations as well. The mask reduces poison damage by 50%, a godsend in the swamp, while both the harness and leggings each make you 50% more vulnerable to fire and reduce your movement speed by 2% per piece. Yet, the 50% reduction in all pierce damage given by the harness just blows everything else out of the water. With so many of the game's creatures dealing pierce damage, this chest piece remains viable even into the game's endgame. For this reason, I kinda like the idea of a hybrid armor for this biome. Take the iron helmet and leggings, but combine that with the root harness. The mountains biome brings the style with the wolf and Fenris armor options. The first is the heavy set in the wolf armor composed of the drake helmet, wolf hide chest piece, trousers, and wolf fur cape. As is tradition with heavy armor, the chest piece and trousers each reduce movement speed by 5%, but it brings high armor and can be upgraded to tier 4 at a level 4 forge and the cape a level 4 workbench. Although you'll need to slay many of the game's wolves for their pelts, fangs, mine and smelt a ton of silver, and luck into a couple 10% drop rate Drake trophies for the helmet, and 10% wolf trophy for the cape. The Fenris, on the other hand, and perhaps my favorite set in the whole game, is composed of the hood, coat, and leggings, made primarily from the Fenris hair found in frost caves, but will also require wolf pelts, leather scraps, and the scarce cultist trophy for the hood. It's a special set, being the only one in-game increasing movement speed with a 3% buff for each of the armor pieces, frost resistance provided by the coat, and a wicked set bonus from the whole set in resistance to fire, and plus 15 to your fist skill. Quality level of 4 will be achievable assuming you added the tool shelf to your workbench, which would have been made possible with the acquisition of iron from the preceding swamp. My personal choice is always the Fenris. Despite the lack of armor, it more than makes up for it with its speed, and considering the plus 15 fist skill, it's wise to take advantage of the massive parry bonus of the fist weapon class for huge block armor, making the lower armor rating irrelevant for a player with a good handle of parry timing. Next is the plains, which for the longest time had only a single armor set. That is, up until the recent call to arms, now giving players the choice between the vial and padded sets. The traditional padded consists of the helmet, cuirass, greaves, and linen cape, and is the traditional heavy set with 5% movement speed loss from the chest and legs. To craft it, you might need to return to the swamp for more iron and get started growing flax found in fueling villages and quickly spinning that flax into linen thread. The cape does need one piece of silver also, and in case you missed it, it's the only one in the game that has multiple color options, so be sure to pick your favorite. A max quality is completely achievable with the level 4 forge and workbench, which you should have at this stage with all the bench upgrades now acquired, unless you missed the grinding wheel. It requires a sharpening stone, which can be found in fueling villages if you overlooked its crafting recipe at the stone cutter. The other set in the vial is brand new and functions as a medium set similar to that of the Black Forest Bear, composed of the Vilebone Visage, Cage, drapes, and pairs nicely with the Lox Pelt Cape. It does have less armor than padded, but doesn't reduce your movement speed and has a wicked set bonus if wearing all 3 pieces, yielding a 20% increase to health regeneration, 40% stamina regen, plus a 20% increase to blunt and pierce damage, but you'll have to overcome a 25% weakness to all physical damage. This is another glass cannon type set, but you gotta appreciate the look. The Lox Cape, on the other hand, just needs some silver and pelt from the biome's locks, and while it looks far worse than the linen cape, it does provide resistance to frost. For the vial set, you will need to hunt the Nocturnal Vial for the rib cage, elusive 10% trophy for the cage, and notably, share the same bear hide drop as the Black Forest Bear. Like the padded, it can be fully upgraded to quality of 4 at the forge, as long as you have 4 of the upgrades alongside it. Personally, I'm a huge sucker for glass cannon builds and will happily accept the trade-off of increased vulnerability for more damage, but I'll often opt for the linen cape for the style points unless I'm traveling to the mountains. As we approach the Mistlands, the game takes a turn with the introduction of magic, therefore offering 2 sets in the Carapace for traditional warriors and Eider Weave for the wizards among us. Carapace is the standard heavy set with helmet, breastplate, and greaves, naturally reducing movement speed by 5% on the chest and pants, but more than makes up for it with big armor numbers. To craft it, however, you will need to make the new Blackforge workbench added in this biome and gather a variety of resources. Carapace from the Seeker and Seeker soldiers amongst the mist, scale hide from the elusive hair, a couple mandible dropped more rarely from Seeker soldiers, refined Eider, which requires a bit more of an explanation, and naturally iron. You always need more iron. The refined Eider will require combining both sap extracted from Idrisil roots and soft tissue mined from Jotun skulls in this biome. With only 2 Blackforge upgrades possible in the Blackforge Cooler and Vice, you'll have to settle for a max quality level of 3 until you progress to the Ashlands. Alternatively, the Eider Weave is a whole new style of armor with Eider regenerating capabilities, with the hood giving 20% increase to item regen, and the robe and trousers contributing an additional 40% each. It does of course have only moderate armor and reduces movement speed by 2% from each of the robe and trousers. To craft it, like the carapace, you need a new workbench, but this time the Galder table for all your magic crafting goodness. At this workbench, you'll need a pile of linen thread, refined ider, scale hide, some feathers, and you guessed it, a bit of iron. This set is also limited to a quality level of 3 with a limited upgrade level of 4 by adding the rune table and unfading candles. But perhaps best of all in the biome is the feather cape, which I tend to group with the Eider weave, but no matter your playstyle, you should be using this thing. Crafted at the Galder table with feathers, scale hide, and refined Eider, it completely removes fall damage when equipped, adds frost resistance, but does make you extremely weak to fire, making barley wine a must when using this cape. As far as choice of armor in this biome, you really have two good options. It really depends on your preferred playstyle. But if we're really being honest with ourselves, magic's really OP in Valheim, so you might be better off with the Eider weave. The game's current final biome has all kinds of options, with the second to have 3 choices in the Ask, Flame Metal, and Embla armors. The biome's heavyset in the Flame Metal has massive armor and is composed of the helmet, breastplate, and greaves, and like all heavy sets, contributes a total of 10% slower movement, although both the breastplate and greaves each give 20% heat resistance, slowing your burning in the hot waters off the coast. You craft this one at the Black Forge after mining and smelting flame metal from the game's spires, harvest aspen hide from the green doggos, gather bones from the many charred, and rip the heart from the massive Morgan for the breastplate. At the time of this video, only a quality level of 3 is possible, and that would require you craft both new Black Forge upgrades in the metal and gem cutters. For a more lean approach, the Ask set is a nice option coming with less armor but wicked effects, composed of the hood, trousers, and breastplate of Ask. By wearing all 3 pieces, you gain a 10% reduction in stamina usage while running and jumping, 20% reduction while attacking, and increases your pierce damage output by 10%. Like the Flame Metal, it's crafted at the Black Forge, requires more aspen hide, but also a ton of pelts and linen thread from the preceding planes. Again, quality of 3 is the highest currently, assuming you have made both bench upgrades. Thirdly, for the spellcasters, it's just a straight up improvement over the Eider weave in both stats and cool points in the Embla. Composed of the hood, trousers, and robes, the hood gives 30% increased Eider regeneration, while the others give a massive 50% a pop with a trade-off of 4% total loss in movement speed. This one is crafted at the Galder table, requiring linen thread, Asksvin hide, refined Eider, and flame metal for the robes, and is currently maxed out at a quality level of 3 if you make the new Galder table upgrade in the Feathery Wreath. Moreover, this biome also offers 2 new spectacular capes in the Aspen Cloak and Ashen Cape. The Ashen is an absolute workhorse, giving a staggering 12 armor at its base level. I know I said armor is overrated in Valheim, but 12 compared to the typical 1, you really can't ignore it. Not to mention, it gives you frost resistance and reduces stamina usage by 10% when both attacking and blocking. It's crafted at the Black Forge with Aspen hide, Morgan sinew, and flame metal, and like the armors, maxes out at level 3. The Aspen Cloak, on the other hand, is an absolute no-brainer for players who prefer to stay nimble, reducing dodge stamina by 15%, adds resistance to frost, and has the wind run effect, which makes you much faster with wind at your back. To take advantage of its perks, you make this at the Galder table with Aspen hide and Morgan sinew, and can be elevated to a quality of 3 with the required Galder upgrades. You really can't go wrong with any of these options, but my fave, like usual, is probably the Ask set for the mobility, but I think it's wise to add the Ashen Cape to it to make up for the sacrifice in armor, because it's the Ashlands after all. You're inevitably going to be hit. And if you're interested in the Google Doc I featured in this video with all the armor stats, I'm giving that away for free over on my Patreon that I just launched with link in the video description. If you want to support the channel further and get all my videos completely ad-free, 5% off my merch, the Classy membership has you covered. And if you really like my Google Docs, you can get access to all current docs and future editions with the stylish tier, not to mention 10% off all Snazzy Games merch. And Ultimate Snazzy members can have their name included at the end of all my future Valheim videos. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next one.